Hello, everyone. Today we're talking about modes in astrology. Now, modes in astrology are, there are certain type of qualities that signs have, and they are cardinal, fixed, and mutable, right? Now, where does this come from? I'm going to show you both where it comes from and where you can look on a chart in order to find it, right? So, let's see here. Now, this is actually a tropical sort of conception, right? Now, if we look at the tropical system, which is very key to the seasons, right? And in tropical, it would have 0 degree Aries begin at spring equinox here, right? Here we have the spring equinox. And it goes through, and this is the classic sort of tropical 12 sign way of looking at things, right? Now, the way that we get these attributes, these modes of cardinal, fixed, or mutable, are very linked to this picture here, right? Okay, so spring equinox, that's the start of spring, right? And here, Aries is the cardinal sign. Okay, and cardinal is always at the start of a season, right? So if we're looking at the signs like this, with these with the equinoxes and the solstices, I should say, then the cardinal signs are always going to be the angular signs if we put them in the natural order with Aries starting first, right? So right after spring, start of spring, cardinal. Summer solstice, start of summer, Cancer. Start of autumn, Libra, right? And now this is specifically in the tropical system. But for the purpose of explaining modes, I'm going to tell you about it in this way first. And then we're going to dive in a little bit about how this could possibly be applied to a true sidereal system. So, start of the seasons is always cardinal. The middle of the seasons is always fixed. And then the end of the seasons is always mutable, right? So we have cardinal that comes in, changes things, gets things going, fixed sort of the fullness of the season, and then mutable is when things start to shift and move into a different season, right? So let's see, I'm going to share another screen. Now this is how you find it. You're going to look at a chart. Okay, so if you were to run a chart on astro.com, which is you can't run 13 sign charts on astro.com, but you can run regular sidereal charts on astro.com. And honestly, it's a great piece of software that's good in a pinch. If you've been following along in this playlist of videos, you've probably heard me talk about Astro already. And I have a video about how to run a chart on Astro if you would like to see it. Just check out this same playlist. So, as you see, I've got this little diagram, right? And it always goes in that order: cardinal, fixed, mutable, cardinal, fixed, mutable. And this is sort of where you can see it. You'll find this little chart right here. And along this side, it has the elements, so fire, air, earth, water. And along the top, it has the modes, so cardinal, fixed, mutable. Okay? That's the sort of gist. So, I didn't actually prepare a graphic for this. I kind of wish that I had, but I didn't. But, so any of you who sort of follow my channel or have been following around know that, and if you don't know, you can always head back to the start of this playlist where I'm talking about, it's sort of like an intro to True Sidereal and using constellational astrology, which means we use the actual sizes and placements of the constellation. In mainstream tropical astrology, we just key 0 degree Aries to the spring equinox, and that's just Aries. The truth of that is that that's not actually where Aries is anymore. And you can see other videos in this series that talks about the why of that. But I thought, what if it is still possible to use the modes while under a true sidereal system. So what I did is I took a chart and I found when the spring equinox was and set it down. It's actually in Pisces, right? And the thing with true sidereal is that, you know, in tropical, everything is very neat and tidy. It's all very easily well categorized, super comparably, just like easy to understand with your brain because it's a very neat system, right? And so when you start using true sidereal, it adds a lot more nuance to things, right? Because we're dealing with the actual size of the constellations. We're dealing with, and so in that way, I'm going to make some videos that'll be coming up after this about aspects. And one of the aspects is, and this is just an example of how true sidereal sort of expands things and allows for a lot more nuance. But one of the aspects is an opposition, right? That's when two things are like right across from each other, looking at each other. And in mainstream tropical astrology, there's only ever two signs that are ever in opposition to each other, right? There's these like natural pairs and that's it. Now, if we use the actual sizes of the constellations, which means that like some are a little bit bigger, some are a little bit smaller, then you can have all sorts of different oppositions. And I have a whole video series on oppositions that I'm about to finish up right away here. Maybe I'll put the link for that down below if you want to like deep dive into some stuff about signs. But so when we start to use true sidereal, things open up. There's more nuance. There's more, it's not so black and white anymore, you know? And so I thought, what would happen if we were to actually still use modes in the way that they were initially intended, right? Let's say that there's still 30-degree little pi pieces and cardinal starts at equinox and solstice and equinox and solstice. What would we get? And when we do that, I wish I had a visual aid here. I'm sorry, I don't. I will put the specifics down in the comments, or the information, I should say. But what we find actually is that signs can be more than one. Now, this is just an experiment that I've started to play around with. You can take this information and run with it, see how it resonates, see how it shows up in your practices. That's fine. I'm just sort of throwing this out there as kind of a what if. But so what we have is that signs aren't just one thing, right? It's not like initially Pisces was mutable water. If we look at where it fits within the sort of cardinal cross, it's a little bit mutable and a lot cardinal, right? And so I'm just going to put everything down in the information so you can check it out. But essentially, I just like took this page, not counting the signs, but equinox, solstice, right? I found the position of equinox and just like kept going around from that point. And ta-da! What you see down below in the information on this video is the actual mode breakdown of each of the signs if we use the full size and position of the constellations. So check it out, play around with it. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. And yeah, let's sort of play around with this idea as a community and see what we can find. Until next time, talk to you later.